What's up, my loves? My name is Paige, this is Pages with Paige, and today we're going to be talking about my June wrap-up. Don't forget to check the description box below for petitions, donation sites, and the Black Lives Matter card, as well as a playlist of Black booktubers that you can check out, created by Opal from Opal Lessons, as well as some Indigenous Aboriginal resources for those of my Australian subscribers. So for reaching 300 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway of $30 Australian, a book of your choice, through Book Depository. I tried doing Amazon a while ago and it was a mess. So you need to feel comfortable being able to provide your address. You need to be over the age of 18. This is not affiliated with YouTube or anything like that. I'm just so excited to be doing this. And yeah, so it will be a book of value up to $30 Australian. And all you need to do is comment down below an emoji of a dog, because I love dogs, or sloths. Dogs or sloths, that's fine. And when I get in contact with you, you need to be able to prove that you're a subscriber to me. So yeah, and that's it for that. Starting from now, and we'll end on the 12th of July, AEST anyway. And I will announce the winner shortly after that. I will do a video on the following Wednesday, as well as contacting them on Twitter, or however. Please either leave your Twitter or Instagram so I can get in contact with you that way. So yeah. Okay. So into the wrap up. So last month was a pretty quiet reading month. I went down to my parents' place for 2 weeks and that just completely threw my reading out. So I read 13 books, which is a lot, but it's not the rate that I'd been keeping up. So yeah, hopefully we can bring it back in July, or just keep it chilled. Like, I really don't mind. I'm mood reading. It's weird. But yeah, let's talk about the things that I read. In conjunction, I participated in the Make Your Myth Taker, and it was awesome. So I was dressed as a witch in my TBR video. I am now a goddess, as well as 3/4 of the way being an assassin. So I've almost finished my assassin training, but I didn't quite make it, and I kept it a secret because of the secret book, but then that was one prompt I missed. So there have been quite a few changes, but since with everything that was happening, the girls decided to just change the rules so you can do it any which way. So that's how I've managed to achieve what I have, as well as the Not Safe for Workathon, which I host. I did go quiet on Twitter. Normally I'm running like reading sprints and stuff, but with everything that was going on, I felt it was inappropriate to really have like a voice going. So yeah, I just told it down. We still had a live show, which was really fun. That's on Kara's channel at Jadeyraereads, and oh my god, Lord and help and save me. So yeah, I am thinking of doing around 3 if people are interested, probably around September, October area. So rather than going in the order that I read the books, I'm going to go through the prompts for the Make Your Myth Taker and say which book fulfilled the prompt, as well as if it had a corresponding Not Safe for Workathon prompt, and go about it that way. Otherwise I'm just jumping all over the shop, and yeah, I think this will be a lot easier. So the first path I wanted to complete was the witch path, which I did, and so the first thing I needed to read, I didn't end up reading them in order, but I'm just going to say the steps just so it's logical. The first prompt I needed to complete for the Make Your Myth Taker was to read a book featuring an animal, and so I decided to read Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. I was doing this for the Ling Along and then got a little bit ahead of myself because I just needed to keep going. I adored this. I think it's really fantastic. I gave it 5 stars, which fills in with the Not Safe Workathon prompt that I assigned it for shit. Read a 5-star prediction and hope that it's the shit. Definitely fulfilled this. I love Fitz's character and I need to continue on. I know that the series we're following next isn't about Fitz, and I'm really sad. I just want to jump straight to the 20-man trilogy, I think it is, to continue on with his story, but I'll go in order and do it right. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving this. I love Robin Hobb's writing in the way that the world is so immersive. You're there feeling it, and there were plot twists that happened in this that I was just like, oh Lord, no, okay, this is happening. I'm not happy. And yeah, I had quite a few books this month that elicited quite strong reactions out of me, which I absolutely love. That's what I want from a book. So yeah, I'm really happy to have read this. I think it's beautiful and I need Fitz. I loved him. The next prompt was to read a book with a foiled cover, and I decided to go with The World That We Knew by Alice Hoffman. There's a beautiful stalk on the heron. I know what it is now because I read the book and it's in it. Anyway, this is a speculative historical fiction based in World War II under the Nazi regime, and it's following three protagonists as they navigate different experiences, as well as having a mystical element that is an ongoing discussion about humanity and what it is to be human in times that are so harrowing. This also fulfilled a not safe for workathon prompt of deep throating, read a tough to swallow topic matter. It was tough to read. So I gave this 4 stars. It's beautifully written. I really enjoyed the narrative. I really loved it. The next book that I read was to read a book that features a magical battle, and it also fulfilled the prompt of Blue Balls. Read a book that ends on a massive cliffhanger. I read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and I am mass trash. I got blue balled for like 70% of this book, and then yeah, fix that. Just I cannot coherently explain my emotions towards this book. I feel that my soul has been ripped out and I am in love. I don't need Rysand to be my book bae, I just need him to be my book bang. Like, I went into the ACOTAR series expecting just a fun read that got smutty, and it's so much more than that, and I'm not okay because I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. Like, why had I not picked this up sooner? How did this escape my notice until I joined BookTube? This is following Feyre as she continues to navigate the Fey realm, and there are political things that are happening, and she needs to make decisions about what is right and what is wrong, and just, it's beautiful. Gavin, you're going to enjoy the last 30%, I think. It was funny because I started reading this and on page 20 there's a sex scene and I was like, oh, hello, we're into this. And then, you know, I stopped because I was like, you know what, I'm not really in the right headspace with everything that's going on to be listening to sex scenes. I stopped, and then I picked it back up, and then I got blue balled, and then my blue balls got alleviated. 5 out of 5. I love this, and I'm so scared for the next one because I heard that it's just all smart and no plot. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna give me what I want, but also is it gonna give me what I want now because I'm invested in the characters? And finally, to become a fully fledged witch, I needed to read a book that featured occult themes, and so I decided to read Witches of Bastion Room by E. Latimer, and again, I gave this 5 stars. I had such a good reading month. I loved pretty much everything that I picked up. This is following Dana and Mina and a few other characters in an Irish town as they navigate becoming witches, as well as a serial killer that is within the town, and that ending. This has bisexual rep as well as OCD rep, and not having OCD, don't know how it rates in terms of representation, but the bi and the awkward and the just related. Yeah, this is, she's, I love this. I think it was absolutely fantastic, and I'm so thankful for Ashleigh from A Frolic Through Fiction talking about it, so then I went and picked it up, and then letting me message her on Discord being like, oh lord. So yeah, really enjoyed that. This doesn't fulfill any not safe for workathon prompts though. So that was my witch path. I'm now a fully fledged witch and I am keen. The next path that I'm going to dive into is the goddess path. I needed to read a book that had a non-human main character, and I'm stretching this a little bit and saying Leave the Window Open by V.E. Schwab, which is a 10-page short story at the back of the archived series, and I will explain more about those later, but it's talking from Wes' perspective about the things that occurred, and it is so wholesome and precious, and I loved it, and I need more from this series, and I'm so devastated that publishers didn't pick up the 3rd book and that it's now only maybe happening in the future, because I love these characters. So Mackenzie is what's known as a keeper, and so she's technically human, but she's a little bit more than human, and it's got healing powers and things like that. So yeah, I'm counting it for that. And then the next thing I needed to read was a foiled cover again. So I decided to read Murder Most Unladylike, which is the middle grade monthly pick for June. The live show has happened, and Gavin and Jade were beautiful and wonderful, and I love it. So this was a middle grade historical murder mystery, and I was not expecting this. This also fulfilled the Not Safe for Workathon prompt of Lemon Stealing Whore, read a book that features food, all from a new to you author. Robin Stevens is a new to me author, so it counts for that. And yeah, I gave it 3.54 stars, and the main reason is the side character is absolutely insufferable. I could not stand her, and the way that the protagonist acted just wasn't my jam. I still really enjoyed the story and the narrative and watching the protagonist find out all the stuff. If the side character was a little bit different, I think I would have enjoyed it more. I think this would be a great for years 3 or 4 students, so that's 8 to 10-year-olds, I believe, and then a little bit older. Go from there. Next, I needed to read the highest rated book on my Goodreads shelf, as well as this fulfilled the Not Safe for Workathon prompt of Soggy Biscuit, read a book from multiple POVs, and so I decided to go with a buddy read with April and Cara, and that was Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this was a 3-star read. And I'm glad I was buddy reading it, because I would have DNF'd it. I don't even know how to sum up my feelings and emotions. This is following a series of teens, feel like teens, young adults, that are navigating a corrupt government, trying to escape while figuring out what's happening with this ongoing entity in space. And just, I think the voices of the writer that acts as a teenage boy just hit a little too loudly. So chapter 3, we're page 36. My girls are too big for this uniform. Don't get me wrong, I love my ladies. Chi-chis, tartars, whatever euphemism you want to use. Those days when you manage to sculpt the perfect cleave and you can hear people's necks snapping when you breeze past. Yeah, that. They're a fantastic idiot detector. Hint, I don't blame you for peeking, but if you're talking to them rather than my face, you failed the test. But they're often a lot of fun to have around at night. But some days, they're just a bitch to own. Yeah, okay. So I liked how the story ended. I am wanting to continue on with the third one, but I'm definitely going to get it out from my library because I don't want to support Jay, and just, I really want to support Amy, but I can't justify it, so yeah. Getting the third one from my library because cliffhanger at the end, but god damn it. I'm hoping that the girls will want to do a buddy read because I don't want to read that by myself. I need someone to laugh about it with. So yeah, that was that, and the most disappointing read of June. And finally, I needed to randomize my TBR. Originally I picked Atonement, but then I realized with the rules thrown out of the readathon, I could pick something else as a random read, and that's exactly what happened. I did not plan on reading this, and then a book club happened and they were like, hey, we're gonna pick this up, and I'm like, okay, looks like I'm reading this random book, and that was Dark Emu by Bruce Piscoe, and this is a argument towards reconsidering the hunter-gathering label for the pre-colonial Aboriginal Australians. It goes through and highlights lots of different topics that Aboriginal Australians and the colonialised, or criteria for being civilised, the Aboriginal Australians were actually doing. There was agriculture, there was aquaculture, there was housing and population control, there was food storage, there was all these different things. And so Bruce was just putting it into an argument to say, well, maybe like we need to reconsider our standpoint and our ideas, and maybe, you know, use the knowledge of the Indigenous people that have been here for hundreds of thousands of years to, you know, not destroy our country. Just maybe. And yeah, So the way that we do things now is not sustainable. It's not actually helping for the way that Australia is. Our soil is easily destroyed through hooves. So if we use kangaroos and emus and other animals that are native to Australia rather than sheep and cows, our land's probably not going to erode or be destroyed as much or as quickly. And yeah, so it's a discussion point for looking at things in a different way and utilizing a knowledge that has been shut down and silenced. And yeah, I think it was a really good introductory point. I can understand how the controversy exists around this book. I'm not going to get into it, but I appreciate that it was put so plainly to be accessible for any audience. So I can say, hey, well, you know, I'm starting to learn about this sort of stuff. Why isn't this a thing? Why can't we do this? Why aren't these questions being asked? And yeah, I have something to start off my knowledge, and I'm really excited to learn more about the Indigenous people that I live on their land. Like, this is shamefully a topic that I have been neglecting in my education, and as a previous teacher, I feel that it's so important to rectify your own education holes. It was interesting, one of my friends was saying that as she was reading this, she realized that the things that she was teaching weren't wrong, but they weren't right either. And in the way that our day and age is, you need to be really careful about what you're saying, and she felt that this helped her clarify and speak in a way that's succinct to kids and provide them with the education that we missed. So the next path that I wanted to complete is the Assassin's Path. I needed to read a friend pick. Originally I had Jax from Jaxie Jax Read pick out The Well of Ascension. I didn't get to it, but I also did a buddy read with April and Cara again later in the month. So I'm picking that as a friend pick, and we read The Archived and The Unbound by V.E. Schwab. So I read mine in the bind up of The Dark Vault. I think they did too, but we're counting them as individual books as well as the short story that's right at the back. Like I said, this is following Mackenzie as she has to navigate a secret life. Her grandfather's introduced her to this way of life, and now her grandfather's dead and she's trying to continue on trying to be a teenage girl. And I think it's really, really sweet. I think that it portrays Mackenzie's struggle of trying to do the right thing but not knowing who to turn to, and when you're taught that you have to lie to keep these things, your lives, separate, who do you turn to when you're really struggling? I'm so thankful for the girls reading it with me. I did go to read this last month or the month before, and I didn't get to it. So they were like, we're gonna read this anyway, and I was like, cool, I'll jump in, and yeah. So that fulfilled the buddy read. And I gave both the Archived, Unbound, and Leave the Window Open, which is the short story, all 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this series. And that didn't fulfill any not safe for workathon prompts. The next prompt I had to read was a book with a dark cover, so I read Learn My Lesson by Katie Robert. This is the second book in the Wicked Villains series, and this is following Hades, Hercules, and Megara in a poly relationship, and heaven save my soul. This was also fulfilling the prompt of porn, read an ebook, and it just hit all the right notes. I find that Katie Roberts has the perfect balance of smut to plot, and I just adored this and their relationships and the soft and wholesomeness, but also the hard and So Hades is the leader of the underworld, which is like a club where you can come do shoddy business deals, and it's like the main hub of information, but it's neutral ground, so no one can attack anyone, no one can get into fights and stuff like that, and then you can also play out any like desires that you want. And yeah, Hades and Meg run it together, and Meg's suffering because she feels like Hades isn't listening to her, and then Hercules comes in and he's trying to save the day, and there was a quote that I just absolutely adored by Hercules, and he says, "All I want is to do good, but every time I turn around, I'm fucking things up worse than they were before I arrived." And that hit me in the soul. I feel that so hard. I was like, God damn. It's thank you for that, Hercules. That's exactly what I needed. But there are strong themes of consensual non-consent, and it's really interesting just looking at the dynamics of communication and seeing how they play off one another. I loved it. I'm so excited to read the third one. I believe that's following Tink and Hook. And I think it might be that Hook is a good guy and Peter Pan's a dickhead, maybe? I'm excited to find out regardless. So yeah, the next prompt was a secret book. Again, I was intending to read Off Seasons by Jack Ketchum. This was a cannibal story that Gavin read and then I decided to get, but I lent it out to a friend, went to Sydney, just didn't have the time to get it off him and couldn't be bothered, so yeah, didn't end up reading that. And then finally, I needed to read a quick read, so I read Rolling in the Deep by Mira Grant, which is a pen name for Shauna Maguire, and this is a horror prequel to Into the Drowning Deep, following the boat that the crew in Into the Drowning Deep were looking at and seeing what actually happened, and you get to see what actually happened, and it was awesome, it was horrifying, it was delightful, it was scary. I really loved the descriptions of the sirens, but also hate it simultaneously because I am chicken. 4-star read for me, really enjoyed it, just listened to the audiobook of it and it was really atmospheric and really spooky. That was everything for the Make Your Myth Taker. The last two prompts for Not Safe for Workathon, one I managed to complete and the other one I didn't. Again, that was edging and that was going to be the Well of Ascension. I read the first page on the 1st and then was going to finish off by the end of the month. Didn't quite happen. So yeah, failed that prompt, but that's okay. Only missing one's like pretty good. But the other prompt is Blue Balls. Read a book with a blue cover. And I read Eragon by Christopher Bellini. I read 80% of this yesterday, very, very quickly, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I can definitely see the inspiration drawn from The Lord of the Rings, having read it quite quickly and listening to the audiobook and of both. So, different narrators, but I could get the vibe going. I really enjoyed following Eragon. I think he's a really sweet protagonist. I had a lot of feelings about this, just with what happened and Eragon's journey and the characters that he meets and travels with and their stories, and just, oof, beautiful. I'm definitely interested to continue on with the series, which is always good. Really happy that I read this, and I think Eragon's a cinnamon roll and I really want to continue on, so we'll hopefully get to that soon. So this is the wonderful stack that I got to read for the Make Your Myth Taker and Not Safe for Workathon. I read a total of 4,907 pages, which is pretty good. Again, not the caliber that I'm usually at, but I had fun. It was a weird ass month. I'm glad it's over, and yeah, don't forget to leave either the dog or the sloth emoji below to enter in the giveaway. I can't believe we hit 300. What even? Oh, thank you for sticking around for this absolute mess that I am. I don't think I'd be on brand if I actually formed a coherent sentence ever. And don't forget to check the description box for the Black Lives Matter card and other additional information to that. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. Don't forget your comment below to be a dog or sloth emoji, and if you'd like to see more of this mess and bump up our numbers and it's fine, I'm fine, it's fine. Welcome to my bookish family, and I can't wait to just get to know everyone and build different connections. If you ever do want to do a buddy read, hit me up. My Twitter and Goodreads are always linked below, as well as my personal Instagram, but like, I just put random bookish stuff on there anyway. They're always linked below if you're interested in finding me on any other platform. I'm pretty active on Twitter most of the time, and yeah, I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!